Hello again, everybody, and welcome to a new edition of You Bet CaneSport with Lee Sterling, our weekly look at the Miami Hurricanes from the betting perspective. I'm Gary Furman, the publisher of CaneSport.com. With Lee Sterling himself, we wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, which means it's a big football weekend and a lot of football prognostication ahead, which means Lee Sterling's a very busy guy. But there's his number on the bottom of the screen if you want some help making your picks for the weekend, going forward into the conference championships games, the college football playoffs, obviously NFL. Give Lee Sterling a call. He'll have a great package waiting for you for the remainder of the football season. Lee, this is a tough one this weekend. A lot of interesting games. Miami survived that Wake Forest game. It was kind of interesting for a while, and now has to go up to Syracuse. And because they didn't take care of business at Georgia Tech, this Syracuse game is for all the marbles, the entire season on the line, a berth in the ACC championship game, the chance to make it to the college football playoff after that. Lee, do the Miami Hurricanes rise to the occasion this week at Syracuse?
So let's take 15 seconds to celebrate the win last
Woo-hoo!
week and the cover. They've had some crazy covers late in games.
No,
so,
I'm going to tell you what I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating winning your 50 point pick of the weekend on Texas A&M. And I was sweating out that game on Saturday night. I'm like, Lee said, this is a 50-unit selection, man. I'm like, that means he loves this one. And all right, so I made a little wager on Texas A&M, and wow, did I get my money's worth on that one? And I'm sure you did too. But anyway, so Miami, Syracuse, what do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be passing. Both teams are going to throw the football, obviously, a lot and have success. Number one, number two passers, number one and two passing offenses. Key is got to keep their offense off the field. So you want to score, but maybe have some 8, 10, 12 play drives and beat them up. Don't have a whole lot of depth on defense to Syracuse. And I'd like to see us throw to the tight end more. I think that's a real weapon. Everyone's seen everyone's playbook. You get to this year. Got to come up with 2 or 3 key plays that can make the difference that you maybe haven't shown before, haven't shown for maybe 4 or 5 weeks at least. They're not going to go back and study the first 4 or 5 games of the season. So if you got something, now's the time. We're going to find out how good our coaching staff is and how good our kids respond. But I just think that our offense and Cam Ward just a little bit better. Kyle McCord has had a couple games where he's had some tough games. And so if you can get some heat on him, he is susceptible to throw interceptions. I like Miami in a shootout here. I'll take the 11, though. Miami 45-40.
45-40?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Woof. Boy, Canes fan. If he's right about that one, you better pack your Alka-Seltzer this weekend, man. Woof.
Well, hopefully it's a backdoor cover. Hopefully we're up by 12 and they score backdoor cover on the last play or two, and then everyone's happy.
All right, 45-40. I got a feeling Miami does have some offense is still in the tank that they haven't shown this year. And you're right. At this time of the year, you do have to have some wrinkles and some new material that you can roll out there just to throw the other team off schedule a little bit, make them wonder about their scouting reports and stuff. And Mario Cristobal, Lee, has always been really, really good in these type of big game situations. I remember his last year at Oregon. He took a team to Columbus to play Ohio State, very well prepared. And on that day, he turned a lot to the running game. And I could see the same thing happening in the hostile confines of the Carrier Dome on Saturday. I could see Miami with the emergence of Jordan Lyle and obviously Fletcher and Martinez. That's a strength of the team.
Yeah.
As much as the passing game, I could see Miami leaning hard on the running game in this game to take some of the pressure off the defense so that maybe it's not 45-40, although I think any of us will take 45-40 at this point. But either way, it should be a great game up there on Saturday. Lee is wary of Syracuse's offense. He says, take the points with Syracuse. Okay. So many huge games in college football this week. It's typical Thanksgiving weekend. I wanted to ask you about a couple of these. And, Georgia minus 19 playing Georgia Tech. Now, this one is kind of weird to me, Lee, because a lot of people are saying that this game could be a measuring stick if Miami happens to make it to the ACC championship game and lose to SMU, and the committee might have to end up picking between Miami and Georgia as to who goes into the playoff. Georgia at this point has 3 losses. Miami lost to Georgia Tech, but the odds makers are making this a 19-point spread. Are they right? Is it too big?
I think it's too big. I mean, I think Georgia Tech offense is good, and it's evolved since they've started implementing their young freshman quarterback. So Georgia has nothing to play for here. Yeah, they want to win, obviously, but if they could lose this game and then win out in the SEC championship game and win this game. So this is Georgia Tech Super Bowl. I like their offense. I think they're going to pull off the stunner here, 35-30.
Could you imagine if they said if they give Georgia another loss?
Yeah.
Wow, the SEC will be dying on that one. Woo! Wow. Yep. Georgia Tech upset. I like that. All right, Ohio State has its big game this weekend against Michigan. They're 21-point favorites. A lot of people think Ohio State is the best team in the country right now, Lee. They've been playing great football. What do you think about the Ohio State-Michigan game?
I agree with their observation. I think they have the best skill players at running back and wide receiver. So last week, Indiana was doing a good job shortening the game. And then what happened? Ohio State defensive coordinator Jim Knowles started blitzing almost every single down, and the Indiana offensive line could do nothing with it, and the quarterback couldn't get rid of the football. Michigan can't run. They're in real big trouble. Their passing game, they can't pass to save their lives. Michigan is that bad. So they may not reach 75 yards passing in this game. I like Ohio State big here, 48-20.
Wow, that'll inspire more money to flow up there in Ann Arbor. I don't know if you saw that one.
I did.
The second richest guy in the country put up the money for them to steal the Underwood kid away from LSU. Very interesting. $2.5 million a year, but a new benchmark, I think, for NIL. Pretty wild. All right. So Clemson is sitting there waiting to see what Miami does. They also have 1 loss in the ACC. They have their game against South Carolina this weekend. Meaningless to them in the ACC race. If Miami wins at Syracuse, Clemson is out. Minus 2.5 versus South Carolina. What do you think of that one?
Yeah. So Clemson got creamed the first game against Georgia and then lost late in the season to Louisville. In between that, they played a bunch of, I'm going to be nice, mediocre teams. Both of them were bad. And they did a number on them. This is a physical South Carolina bunch that's really improved. I just think that this is the toughest defense they've played. Number 19 in the country is South Carolina's defense. Calling for the upset here. South Carolina, 26-23 over Clemson.
Yeah. I think I'm with you on that one. And then real quick, I just want to ask you about since I know you love Texas A&M. Yeah. They got their big game against Texas this weekend. Yeah. Are you still waving that Texas A&M flag after they gave you a heart attack last week?
They fell behind. 21-0. They were just caught napping, then did a number on them, and then should have won the game in overtime. So we're gonna go with Texas here, 27-20. Thanks, Gary.
All right, Lee. Go back to work. Bye-bye. He's a busy guy this week, that Lee Sterling. Well, that's going to conclude You Bet CaneSport with Lee Sterling for this week. We lost Lee. You're left with me. But yeah, big game for the Canes this weekend at Syracuse. We'll see you next time, everybody.